Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. Okay, this video is about irrefutable reasons that people are sentenced to hell. Reasons that have to do with rebellion and generational sin. And after this video, you should understand how a parent can actually damn their offspring. Because a lot of people are confused about that issue. If you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to ask. Okay? They say, why would God make it so that people have children after the Messiah has come and gone in the end of the Bible, at the end of the Bible? Okay? Now remember, the Bible is not infallible, but what it's getting at when you see through the bullshit in terms of God's children are the children of righteousness, not the flesh, okay? In terms of one day it's going to end and people are going to be damned to hell, the wicked go down to the realm of the dead, all the nations that forget God, the whole world is going to be laid waste. The body without the spirit is dead. Faith without works is dead. A planet without the spirit is the realm of the dead, and a destroyed planet. Isaiah 24 said the earth is going to fall, never to rise again. Okay, so let's look at this, shall we? Point number one, their pre-existing state. Is it fair to say to the rich person's child that it is fair for him to leverage his money? To the child of a prostitute with AIDS that it is fair for him to be born with AIDS or an incurable disease? But to then say to the one from a long line of righteous people that it is not fair for him to bring up that he's from a long line of righteous people and explain thoroughly the implications, okay? Because people will see that he's ideal. So in other words, see a rich guy's child and a child who has, you see me, and then next to me is a rich kid, okay? And next to us is a child who's the child of a prostitute who's born with AIDS and an incurable diseases, very sick. And the airhead says, oh, yeah, he's rich and I'm going to date him. Everyone wants to date a rich person. He can afford me. He says to me, oh, I don't want you to bring that up, okay? I don't want people to see you as ideal. I want them to see me and this rich guy I'm dating as ideal, okay? And then to the kid with AIDS, oh, yeah, it's fair, yeah. His mom is a prostitute. There's nothing we can do about that. He's got to live with those consequences, and he's going to come to terms with that. You see what I'm saying? So their pre-existing state and how they've treated with people as a group, as a planet, overkills this, okay? You've said by your actions that it's fair enough, to the point where you're gold diggers and you're hypergamous and dating toward wealth. You said by your actions that you a crackhead, even was born a crack baby, and you've thrown them under the bus as a society and as individuals. Okay? And you've said to me that you don't care that I'm God's son because you don't think that generational inheritance matters in terms of righteousness, but you think it matters, okay, in terms of wealth. You think it's okay for a kid to be born with AIDS, you say that's God's will. But don't you see you've testified against yourselves? It's God's will for your offspring to be cut off from God because of your actions. Why don't you see that? That was your parents and their behavior and their destiny and their culture and their mood and their sentiment that kept reproducing. And even now people are reproducing, and they're having kids that aren't going to go to heaven. It's like the poor kid, the poor kid's parents are having a kid who's going to be poor. Unless something changes, right? And the kid who's born with AIDS, their parent had a kid who's born with AIDS. It's fair for their offspring to be born with AIDS. Don't you see? Because that is, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. That is who they are. It's fair for a snake to be born a snake. It's fair for a lion to be born a lion. And it's fair for me to cut off your offspring from heaven because you made those decisions to keep breeding, and I've been saying for years now to stop. And nature and the world, the science, why can't you judge for yourselves what is right and see that you need to stop breeding? And we see it also in the words, life form, life form, life for, life for. What are you living life for, and what life form are you? If you're from a long line of people who didn't stop breeding, even though it's clear cut that the world is pure fucking evil, then you're an evil life form. You're the children of hell, like it says in John 8. You're the children of the devil. Your inclinations are of the devil. Why didn't they stop breeding? Maybe one generation, maybe it'd skip one generation or so, but it's not going to skip 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You see what I'm saying? You come from a long line of people with no children that were brought to God because you are the children of the devil. That's why, my language is strange to you. You say, what is he talking about? He's a top martial artist and we should obey him. I don't understand. I get what he's saying, but I don't get why he's saying it and why he thinks we should do it. You see what I'm saying? If you truly understood what I'm saying, you know that I'm from God and you would obey me. You know that God put me here to lead you to God, but you're the children of the devil and you're going to hell. So the first point already, I've proven I'm right. Your pre-existing state. Point number 2. The African source in all people are variations of Africans' arguments. Before you are white or Hispanic or Jewish or Chinese or whatever, you are an African that migrated there. African is another word for human, but human relative to Africa, not to Europe. White people like to say, oh, white culture is human culture and we evolved and we've led people. Bull fucking shit. And I'm not racist, I'm part white, but the word whites is a play on words for why set. Set the stage, settler, set up, set you up to fail, set a trap. Why is their culture the way it is? Because they are the children of Set. But they're not the only ones. Set is a deity of foreigners. Foe, rain, ears. Who they're listening to? The foe, the adversary. The Satan means adversary. Set is a deity of foreigners. You're all foreign to the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order. Who's the deity of people who are the children of God? It's Horus. Horus is the idea of the Egyptians who were being honest, who taught Moses martial arts and things like this. They were using to say the child of God. Before they had the conception of Jesus, if you were to assume the Bible is right for the sake of argument, they had the conception of Horus and said the Son of God is like Jesus in Revelation 19. He's an avenging Christos, anointed, right? Horus is anointed. He's an avenging, anointed King of Kings, right? Pharaoh, King of Kings. Fair and right and just. He's a righteous King of Kings, King of war, God of war, Son of the one true God. You see what I'm saying? So the African source in all people are variations of Africans. Is it fair to identify as a different race and argue that you get to play by your own rules when God naturally elevated the righteous over the rest of people? Over the rest, as people in a healthy state of mind prefer the righteous. So God naturally made me the ideal man because righteousness is superior. Proverbs 8, right? Wisdom is better than rubies, and nothing you can desire can compare to wisdom. And the fruit of the righteous is wisdom. That's the only way that true wisdom comes, is through the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order. And that's what the Egyptians were trying to describe, and that's why in the Bible they didn't contradict. They didn't say Horus is a deity of evil. They didn't dare contradict. In fact, they said the opposite. They said Moses learned to be a man of powerful in action, a man powerful in warfare. And Horus was the teacher of war, is the son of God. Moses learned from the cult of Horus how to be a man powerful in action and speech and martial arts. There's no other way to look at it. Figure it out. Action figure, idolater. Horus, Royal African Falcon, martial art order and form. 3. The obvious time to stop breeding argument. In 2017, it had become extremely obvious by that time that the time for reproduction had ended. When 2017 came, what reason do you have to reproduce? The gay agenda is in full swing, feminism, Trump-type people are everywhere. Scum as far as the eye can see, not a speck of hope for the future. Eugenics have been discussed on the internet for years. It had become crystal clear that you need to stop breeding no matter what. Luke 23, blessed are the childless women, the breasts that never nursed, the wombs that never bore. Paul's letters, he said, I'd rather you not breed. I'd rather you not get married. All racial arguments of outbreeding the oppressor were obviously exposed as empty, and they were just playing into the oppressor's hands and reproducing his spirits, cultures, and his patriarchal lines in key positions of power. There was no possible argument to reproduce. I want to reproduce more Filipinos, will say, because I want them to be in the crypto Jew and the white supremacist and the LGBT community's reproductive culture, playing a game, pretending we're taking on our oppressor. Hi, guys. Hi. My name is dumber than shit. Right? There's no reason to do it. Point number 4. One must live in reality and be righteous enough to be persecuted for righteousness' sake, to live and to die for God. That's the point of life. If you don't do that, you go to hell. If you can't do that, you're damned. I'm pointing out that gravity exists. The sun is hot, and then after I'm gone, not a single righteous person not a single person worthy of leadership will ever exist. Trustworthy, worthy, no generation, all gotten gains. They won't have the qualities. Point number 5. One must have morally precise dating in the divine moral order and not mere feeling-based dating if they're going to date. That cannot be done. They stole the planet from the righteous. It's like the Native Americans say they stole the land from the Native Americans. In a sense, that's the case. But first and foremost, they stole the whole planet and beyond from the righteous in that sense. 6. One must not be part of the infrastructure of the state with no higher cause. Okay, so corpus means a body of people. It's the root word for a corporation. Corpus, right? Corpus. Pirate, right? Pirate scrambled is rape it. Corpus. A body of people, right? Like the body of people from the corporate culture, like a surfers. They make surfboards and sell bumper stickers and surfer t-shirts, right? They're corporate marketing the surfer culture, like every culture that they allow. Okay, so they're part of the body of the satanic corporate spirit of surfing. When they don't have a higher cause, they say, hey, I'm a surfer, I'm not really religious. They worship the devil. So you've denied God, and you're in a culture allowed by the devil's corporations. When the devil controls the kingdoms of the world, as the Bible says, he offered Jesus the kingdoms of the world. He leads the whole world astray. Okay, and you have no higher cause. You worship the fucking devil, genius. You see what I'm saying? 7. Hate groups like the AB, the Aryan Brotherhood, are a key point of reference as they are the evolution of an alliance between bikers, Satanists, neo-Nazis, white inmates, and the corporate states-controlled opposition movements. They have the symbols of the corporate state social clubs and the occult, like Aleister Crowley. Okay, satanic symbols, goblins and demons, some kind of demon tattoos, swastikas, thunderbolts, 666, right? Satanists, right? The shamrock, which is also a symbol of psyche, right? Psychology, Western occult, rape cults, supremacy is what their symbol symbolizes. Psyche, with the root word of psychology, a female who's raped by Pan and Eros and on and on and on. And Eros is said to be the ancient serpent, the devil, because erotic desire is adverse to true romantic making love more in the divine order. And Eros is a quote-unquote deity of love, like his slut mother Aphrodite, which is where you get the false image of the Virgin Mary. It is the slut and her whore-ass child, Eros. And that is, Pan means all. So, at times it's depicted as Serapis and on and on and on. Anyway. 8. We see that people are complicit with extreme and unforgivable evil and stupidity. See, as monkeys diverge from the common ancestors with humans, humans diverge from each other. They evolve with different cultures, diets, activities, terrain, climates, and philosophies. Some people in Africa, they diverge. There's all Africa, the most diverse people. They diverge all over the place. And then some people migrated out of Africa all over the world. So these are divergent breeds. These are not the same species, if you will, race, breed. They're different. They evolved with different cultures, diets, activities, terrains, climates, and philosophies. So if the child of a snake is a snake, the child of those outside the divine order is something else, seeking by the grace of God to be forgiven by obeying God through me. If you remove that component, if there's no gate, there's no way for these people who evolved to be different than the Royal African Falcon Martial Order that clung on to righteousness as given to the natural leader of all humanity, this generational spirit, the spirit, okay? Then they cannot go to heaven. Their offspring cannot go to heaven. 9, in a martial arts sense, white people are inferior to blacks in that sense, and they cover it up. This is key in the rebellion of humanity, as it is generational stealing from God. They historically put a generational emphasis on cheating the righteous. Look at eugenics to impair the black race, to improve and impair racial qualities in people to create a certain situation. Also see Isaiah 57. Thank you.